Welcome to episode 17 of Realty Talk with
Ellie
and Galen. Ellie is back, and this is, I think, our third week. We've been 2 weeks out without just you and I. We had Hannah, and then last week was the first time you were not on the podcast, and Courtney stepped up. Courtney stepped up to the plate and filled in while you were out in where?
Utah, Salt Lake City.
How is it out there?
Beautiful.
That's gonna be. I'm just shooing her phone away from the.
Oh, I thought you were pointing at it because you want me to do something.
No. I didn't want it so people could hear like the crack. Maybe they can't hear the crackling, but whatever. So how was Utah? I've never been.
Really, it was really awesome. They have a lot of very interesting laws about alcohol there, which I learned because Friday night I went out with some friends that I have that live there, and they have weird locks that they put on their alcohol bottles, so it measures out exactly 1 ounce shots, and you don't get bartenders that give you a little more, you know.
That's a state law?
It's a state law. It's because of the Mormons. Thanks a lot, John.
John's a Mormon?
No, but he grew up Mormon, so I
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. My favorite. Where was it? Salt Lake City.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city, but just very interesting. Some of the laws you could tell were.
How far is that from Aspen?
I have no idea.
Remember in Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "Where are you heading?" And she's like, "Aspen." He goes, "California, love it." No, that's great. And how was your conference?
Super boring.
Okay, which I figured most conferences are.
Yeah.
Did you have people you knew that were there though, or that you went with?
No, almost never.
Oh, so you just like.
Make new friends.
Oh, so when you went out with friends, you were new friends.
No, I went out with friends that I knew who I've known previously, not work-related friends.
But they lived in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, like she's lived there always.
Oh, okay. So this was not part of your company.
Not
oh,
work-related.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay. So that's good. So we're glad to have you back. And Ellie brought me the Park Bros coffee, which is where you used to work.
Yep.
House roast, and I'm super excited to try it. Probably be this weekend, but I'm excited. Is that your favorite coffee? One of them?
It is. Yeah, it's my favorite coffee. It's the only one. I drink very few coffees black because I'm very picky about the flavor, and I love drinking their house roast black.
Is their only operation out there in Potsdam?
For the time being, I'm doing everything in my power to get them to Plattsburgh.
There we go. Can't wait. You got the email I sent you?
Yes, and I forwarded it on.
Cool. Okay. Pumped. All right. So today, guys, we just got back from the chamber after hours. It's a little. We came back a little late, but actually it's super bright out right now because we're getting close to the longest day of the year. Only about 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out.
And it's still 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's still we're still in late winter right now. So, but we were kind of going over some topics that we wanted to talk about. We didn't really have we didn't have any topics. So a couple things that I want to mention. I'm gonna let Ellie mention her first topic, so you guys can hear me not talk for a little bit, and then I will mention my topic, and we'll wrap it up because this will be a pretty quick episode. So Ellie, hit us.
Oh, I guess mine's pretty quick. I just think that sometimes people don't have realistic expectations when they're looking for a home, and part of that is, I'm going through the home buying process myself right now, and I've experienced it a little bit with my mother. Is some people haven't bought in so long that they expect prices to be similar to how they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. So, I'm telling my mother, as we're looking, I don't want to look under 90,000. I think it's going to be very hard to find a home that's not going to require a significant amount of repair under 90,000. And she says, "Oh no, that's ridiculous. I've never spent over 100,000 for a home." Like, well, yes, but like you bought the house in Tennessee in the 80s, and now it's worth 215. Like, that should show you how things appreciate. And I do have, I work with some people sometimes who will say, okay, I would like a home. I want it to be 3-bed, 2-bath, no major repairs, 50,000 or less. And that's not going to happen. That's not the way things work right now. It would be like saying that you want to get a car for under $2,000 and not have any repairs or problems with it. It's just, you'd be very lucky, or you'd have to have someone who's going to hand you something, essentially, for that to work out.
One of my biggest pet peeves. So take anybody that's out there looking at homes. You have the asking price, the list price. That's what the seller would like to get for the property. That's why they put it on that price. So real estate, there's no price. I always tell clients, there's no price tag in real estate. Meaning, if Ellie bought that coffee for me, she didn't go to the counter and say, "Oh, I see you guys are selling for $12.99. Can I get it for $8.99?" And then they haggle you back and forth. You don't do that. Yes, I know you can go to like a market, and do that kind of stuff. But for the most part, if you walk into a store, there's a price tag, and you either pay it or you don't.
Yep.
Real estate's not like that, meaning you can actually haggle with the seller for the price, meaning I'll pay you this, pay that, and you got to find an agreement. The one thing that bothers me a lot, and this happens with people buying all the time, especially in today's market, people that list their property for sale, they have it the asking price, obviously, but some people are always like, well, that price is always high. Sellers always ask high. They never ask, what they should, or I never want to pay what. You have the old advice from the uncle who bought a home 30 years ago, or mom and dad, will never give them what they're asking. Well, I get the idea behind that, is you're always trying to get a better deal for yourself. The way I view real estate is that, especially in today's day and age, there's a lot of times I tell clients, I'm like, hey, you're going to sell in this range, in this $5,000 to $10,000 range. Let's be very aggressive and go right in that range and watch what happens. Because in this market, you're going to get very good offers. I've done that multiple times in the last couple of weeks. We've gotten multiple offers above asking price, or we get an offer within a day that's at asking price, and we cancel the showings because they waive the home inspection. They'll give you asking price. There's a lot of things that people do in this market because it's so competitive to buy a home, that instead of overpricing your home, put it where it should be. But what happens is, even if we're doing that, and the good buyers realize the deal, problem is you'll get other people that go look at the house and be like, oh, you're asking $150,000. I'm not going to give them over 140. It's not worth 150. And within a week, it's gone. Closes at 150, 148, something like that. And then the person's wondering why their offers aren't getting accepted, and they do it again, and they do it again. Or they get to the point where they get an offer, and it's like, you guys like the house? Sure, we're going to make an offer. Okay, they come in, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're not going over that price. Okay, well, let me ask you, we're, say, $5,000 to $10,000 apart. Just asking, price-wise, your dollar amount budget, can you cover what they're at? Yes, we comfortably can. And you guys like the house. Yes, we like the house. So the number you're saying you don't want to go over is just some number you have in your head about why you don't want to go over. Now, you might factor in, well, we got to do this and we got to do that and everything else. But I've seen plenty of times that number's already factored in, meaning, like, if that stuff was all done, you wouldn't be buying it at 130, you'd be buying it at 175. Mm-hmm. So don't go at 130 thinking now we got to get the price down to 110 because we want to put $20,000 into it. No, if that $20,000 was into it, it'd probably be worth $30,000 or $40,000 more. And I find that a lot of buyers get this idea in their head that we're not going over a certain amount. And I'm a big believer in real estate, and I love when I'm working with agents, and there's a few agents in the area that have the same mindset. What do we have to do to get this deal together? Meaning, both buyer and seller be a price range that we can all work with, that is going to allow them to get in and allow them to sell. And at the end of the day, we're trying to get people into a home that somebody wants to sell. And I'm not a big believer in, me and you, I have a seller, you have a buyer. I'm not a big believer in, well, let's try to, get this seller and milk them for everything they have. And then you on the other side, like, let's get the seller down as much as possible, and I'm trying to get the buyer up as high as possible. Yes, I'm trying to get the most amount of money for the client, if I'm the listing agent for the seller. But at a certain point, there's always a point where now we're negotiating. Now we're 5,000 apart, 7,000, 10,000, 3,000 apart. And it's like, okay, guys, what can we do to make this deal happen? We're so close. We're talking dollar amount. We're talking dollars per month. I mean, you got to look at it like that. It's like when you buy a car. I don't know what cars are worth. I know what my budget is. But at the end of the day, am I comfortable doing it? Yeah, whatever. I'll pay it. Like, I can get in that range. I think people are trying to, they get this certain, this is happening at 2 a.m. But what happens is that price bracket, people have this like number in their head that they're not going to go over. And I always ask them, like, well, what makes you think that it's worth that amount? Or why wouldn't you go pay another $2,000 above that? Like, we're not going over 120, not doing it. Like, is it because that number's too high in your budget? If it is, why are we looking at $130,000 to $40,000 homes? Yeah. Because it's hard to get someone down, especially in this market, that much. And then they'll fight you on it. Be like, oh, I don't look at the one above or above. I'm like, that's fine, but you have to be willing to pay up in that range. And most of these homes, I see a lot of homes. I can go into a home and I can tell you, yeah, I think that's a good deal. And then people will still try to sometimes get it lower. And I'm like, okay, don't listen to me, and you lose out on the house. And at the end of the day, too, I had one yesterday. I went to the house. I think it's $20,000 overpriced. When people asked me about it, and I said, you can. I mean, if you love the house, go for it. I think it's overpriced, but you can. And I mean, they're always backed by an appraisal, but at the same time, it's, you know, I have a very good pulse on prices because I've seen a ton of homes. I go in dozens of each week. So I have a very good idea of what homes go for, and then you have a buyer that's looked at a few homes and all of a sudden they become an expert at it. It's not worth more than that. I'm like, okay, well, sure enough, goes under contract, and we see it come through the MLS that it closed right where it should have closed. And so I think any buyers, if you guys are out there, you know, listen to your agent. But the other thing too is if you have this idea in your head that there's a certain number, unless it's where your budget actually falls, meaning you cannot financially go above that, then look at stuff within your budget. But I think if you're looking at homes within your budget and you love the home, at the end of the day, you're fine, you're comfortable. You can make the payment. You don't try to, you know, get cheap and try to keep nickel and diming them down. You're going to lose the home. I mean, I bring it up when I bought my home. I probably the worst. I didn't negotiate down at all. I waived my home inspection. I knew at the end of the day we had to get in that home at that time. We were not going to get the home. So I had a bigger factor than dollars and cents when I was looking at it. Could I have sit there and tried to negotiate them down $5,000? Sure. At the end of the day, what was I gaining really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of buyers, especially in this competitive market, take a step back. If you're in your budget, meaning you're qualified to 150, we're looking at any homes 150 or under. Whatever we can get it down to, and you know you can get the home, go for it. Like, don't nickel and dime for a few dollars off your budget. I just think that's the wrong mindset going in, and I think you're in a position where you're going to lose more than you're going to gain doing that. So if you're a buyer out there, stay within your budget, but know that if the house is within your budget, go for it. You know, especially if you really like the home. Don't sit there and nickel and dime for another $3,000 to $4,000 off on your dream home. Trust me, 10 years from now, you won't even know what you paid on your home. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, especially in today's market, these values are going to appreciate. So even if you buy a home today, you think at 150 is overpriced, guess what? 5 to 10 years from now, that's probably 180, 200. You're more than making up your money.
Yeah,
So
equity.
right now is such a good time to buy a home because of the investment aspect, in the sense that it's going to appreciate. We've seen prices from last year already go up 10%. And I don't see that slowing down. And if you bought your home even longer ago, it's going up. I have people right now reaching out that bought their home 2-3 years ago that may the house is a little small, we want to turn around. I'm like, actually, I think we can do it because the market's gone up. Usually somebody can't swing around and turn it that quick because they don't have enough equity in the property. Now people that bought 2 to 3 years ago, I think can sell, still come out on top and get into the next home, which is, I've never seen that in almost 10 years.
The woman that I'm buying my home from, I only know this because I looked the home up on the tax base because I was curious about the age and different stuff. But when she bought the home about 15 years ago, it was worth $62,000, and now we're buying it for $143, and that's just how much in 15 years. That's incredible.
And that will probably be, even if you stay in that for 7 years, are you selling that for $165 in 7 years? Like, you're gonna make money. You're gonna, like, that's already building equity in a sense. You're buying it kind of as a low point. That's the way I look at my home. Like, I bought it, but if we want to sell in 3 to 4 years, I guarantee you we're gonna easily make that up and more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something to think about because I think real estate's is still a good investment. I'm just very bullish on our area. I think our area is really going to pop in the next 5 to 10 years. Me with a lot of other local people, I think, I hate the people with like the doom and gloom attitude or everything, it sucks, everything, this and that. I'm like, I'm so pro our area that I think we have so many good people working hard in our area, from people in the chamber, from local business people to the teachers to people working on tourism and everything else. It's like our people down in the state, our state and federal representatives, I think they're just all doing some very positive stuff for our area, and I think we're gaining a lot of support and notoriety at the state level and even the national level.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about where our community's heading over the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, and I think it's good. I think our generation is going to live through a really prosperous
golden age
time. Yeah, I say golden age, but I think like a turn, meaning that we're gonna like accomplish a lot in our lifespans. I think we'll set up our future generations and our future kids for a very positive future, or next generation, or their kids after that. So I think that's good. I don't know. That's my thoughts for the day. That's good. I don't know where that last one came from, but that's good.
On a
our
positive note.
yeah, our hashtag we use is local matters, which is obviously our we do that amongst our company, and you see me post that all over social media. But my biggest thing that I've really kind of tried to adopt over the last handful of months or 6 months to a year is really how can we help the community grow. Meaning, I'm not big, and we talked about this with a couple podcasts ago with Ellie and Hannah, that we're trying to build everybody up. And I like the analogy of trying to build the tallest building or help everybody build the tallest building versus tearing people down. So I'm very big on local matters. I think it's bigger than just Kavanaugh. I like it, and I think it's a slogan that I would love to see other local businesses adopt and use, and really focus on supporting our local community and growing, as individuals, as individual companies, and as an entire area. Because I think there's a lot of good people in our area, and if we can all focus on supporting each other and helping each other grow, and bringing outside investments into the area and outside developments and things like that, so people are investing in our community, that's just going to leave our community a much better place than we found it. So if you guys can, that is the story behind Local Matters. So I hope you guys can support that initiative. And yeah, handed out a couple green shirts today, so wear those proudly. Again, that's part of the Local Matters campaign, and I think it'll be good. I think you guys will see us at the Business Expo coming up soon. I'm sure we'll talk about that maybe in the next podcast, because that'll be we'll be getting close. We're gonna have a really busy June.
Oh yeah.
Be good. I mean, busy. I mean, obviously the market's stupid crazy, which is great. I love it. I thrive on that energy. But talking more from just our internal company, we've had some good things or some cool things coming up, that milestones I think that I've been wanting to hit for years, and I think we're finally getting there, which is cool. So anything else, Ellie?
No, that's it.
Anything else you want to add? Because I rambled on for at least 15 of the 17 minutes.
No.
I have that tendency.
It's okay.
It's all right.
I don't mind.
I don't either. I don't care.
I'm just learning.
So that's it. That's all I wanted to go through. So Ellie, any news coming up this week that we can leave the listeners looking forward to next week? Wanting to come back for episode 18?
It's supposed to warm up.
There you go. It's supposed to be 70 this week.
I know.
Touch on 70, which is actually
Praise
fun.
the Lord.
So my second child is due any day.
Oh wow.
Any hour.
That's exciting.
Sunday's the due date. Today is Thursday, so coming up, they will be born in about 60 to 70 degree temperatures. When my first child was born, it was like 20 degrees below zero for about 10 days in a row, and it was frigid. I remember walking out to the car I was bringing stuff out to the car. I was so cold, I started the car, I didn't have the energy to bring the cart back, run back out to the car, get in my car and bring it in. I was like, nope, I'll let my car run for a half hour. Then I got out and it was so cold that I'm not joking, this is how bad it was. So, put everything in the car, brought the little buggy back, and it was so cold I was not running back out to get to the car. I didn't want to run, I probably would have ran the 50 yards to my car. So instead I went back in, re-warmed myself, got back, walked out, got the car, brought it back, and it was toasty when I got back to it. It was so cold.
I can feel that in my bones.
It was one of the coldest stretches I've ever seen. To the point where it gave you a headache to walk outside. It was so cold. Mm-hmm. And I had hat and gloves on too. Yep. So to put it in perspective, it was frigid. It was December of 2017 for anybody that wants to fact check me on that. It was frigid. So that's it. So that was just a random fact of the day, that my kids are born completely opposite times of the year. Yeah. One warm, one cold. Semi-warm, because we're still in the winter.
It's supposed to be. Last year, this time, it was almost 80. I'm just saying.
Was it?
Step your game up, New York. Yeah, I only know because my Snapchat was reminding me of my past histories, and it showed me one that I took last year, a week ago, of me and Brittany hanging out on our balconies drinking wine because it was 80.
The days. I talked to Brittany before this podcast. She's doing well.
Yeah.
We love her.
Yeah.
Good, great friend of the show. All right, so for
Ellie
and myself, that is episode 17 of Realty Talk. We will see you all next week. Bye.